So this morning for the my transmission should be here next week, so I yanked the clutch and the flywheel and show everybody the difference, what's going on with that, and then the torque converter even. So this is a flywheel. This actually bolts right here to the crankshaft. So this spins with the crankshaft to the engine. And this is called a clutch, your friction plate. And it's usually like a brake, has little material pads on both sides of it. There is none here, as you can see. It sits. Now, another thing that we can see is, see that groove, see that lip right there? That's a real problem. So, replace the flywheel. You see that bugger sits right in that groovy area. And then that pops on there. So your transmission spline goes through this, and that front piece is the flywheel. So this is going to pinch that friction plate against the flywheel and then transfer it into the transmission right here. So it's pretty much a mechanical connection. You see I had a lot of wear right there, whole lot of wear on those. This whole thing needed replaced anyways, so this is replicating your transmission spline. So you put that right into the flywheel, and that aligns your clutch for you. So you got a brand new flywheel. It gets foggy here every morning, so that's just surface rust. That happens, but that's not a thing at all. Knock it off. This one, what I like about this flywheel a lot is, you can see this has got bearings in there. The original, it had a bushing, so the bushing doesn't roll. And then another really neat thing is this one, I got a Spicer clutch. So this has got Kevlar and ceramic pads. So on this one, you can see the little pads. And the pads are smaller on this. The friction material is much better than it was on this other one. So then it allows you these little gaps, and so it stays cooler. Now, once again, these pads drive directly onto this, and then directly onto this. So once you release your clutch, those pieces squish together, and you're looking at pretty much a mechanical connection. It does have some slippage. It's not quite the same as a direct, like, right to the shaft, but pretty good, pretty mechanical. Now, there's a torque converter. So this sits in the same place that my clutch does. Now, with a torque converter, you have a pressure plate on the back of or a flex plate on the back of your crankshaft instead of a flywheel. Because where that's a mechanical connection, it needs to hit solid. This needs to be able to flex. Now, this is going to bolt directly to the flex plate. It's not a flywheel on an automatic. It's a flex plate. It's just going to bolt on these studs. So then inside here, you see that's all liquid in there. This is where your transmission spline slips into. And you can see that's all liquid. So what's this? So with an automatic, it's actually hydraulically driven. So what's going on inside here is there's actually a little plate made out of aircraft aluminum. And when as your engine spins, it's going to take one plate and throw the fluid at the next plate. So this actually, it'll throw it from here back to here. And then that forces this plate, and then that pressures it, causing it to spin. And that's what turns your transmission. So on an automatic, you've got hydraulically driven connection, or you have more of a mechanical connection with a clutch. That's why you get a lot more torque and a lot more power out of a clutch. But with an automatic, you don't have to shift it. You get to shift it yourself. This one should be back in, but the Monster transmission, here's a negative advertisement for a Monster transmission. They're months out. Brian ordered the transmission. We got the transmission. They sent the wrong torque converter. As you can see, Brian's torque converter is 6-bolt or 4-bolt because it's an IDI. And they sent the 6-bolt, which bolts up to the Power Stroke. They're both 7.3 diesels, but these two things don't cross over, and you can't take the flex plate off the Power Stroke and put it onto the IDI because the engine balance is different. So they have been literal months without replacing this, or even really having any reasonable communication. So pretty disgusting. Brian's transmission's been ready to pop back in for 2 months. Mine has only been a week, and we're literally getting ready to pop mine back in. I'm going to pop this clutch and this flywheel back on, and then we can just slip that transmission into place. Lift.